What if I told you you could get straight A's and actually enjoy school? No, I know, it sounds too good to be true, right? But I'm talking about studying smarter, not harder, all while making your semester feel totally magical. In today's video, I'm showing you how to live your best, most Pinterest-worthy semester, all while getting good grades and being the perfect student. Hello students, class is officially in session. And today I will be giving you all my best tips on how to romanticize school, be the perfect student, get straight A's, study like a pro, while also just making school fun. Coming from a girl who got straight A's all throughout school, took my GPA very seriously, and still had a great time. I have my fuzzy pen laptop with all my notes about this video and my blue light glasses, which I will actually be taking off because they create a glare on the camera, but I always took school very seriously, and I feel like there's the type of people where school comes very naturally to them, but like I don't feel like school came super naturally to me. I was really good at being a good student, but I wasn't like the smartest person in the world. But because I was such a good student, I even did better in school than some people I knew that were really smart but didn't take school seriously. All to say that I feel like I have a lot of wisdom to give back to you. By the way, share this video with a friend who you think could use it. And remember, you can always come back to this video if you need a little mid-semester pick-me-up. Let's get started with learning how to plan like a pro, because this is going to be the most game-changing, life-altering thing you can learn how to do. First up, daily and weekly planning. I actually had both a physical planner and I used Notion for planning when I was in school. I honestly think you can go either route with it. However, you do need some sort of planner. The first thing that I did before the start of every semester, every school year, was write my schedule into my planner. I'd pick a color for each class and then write in the time in the class to my planner for the whole semester and highlight them accordingly. Then I would go through the syllabus for each class. You might get the syllabus before the class even starts or afterwards, but either way, go in and look at those big projects, the big exam days, the presentations, homework due dates, and write everything down. The worst thing that could possibly have happened to me when I was in school was miss a deadline or miss a due date. Like, I was just terrified of that happening, but it never happened to me. I always was on track of all of my assignments this way, and I would keep up with the planner. Like, there's the other thing, you need to go in and update it. So once you do that initial setup before the semester, you have your planner, great. Now once you go to the first day of class or you're actually in classes and assignments start to pop up, keep using the planner and not only writing in homework but also studying. So if I look and saw that next Wednesday I have a French test, okay, I'm gonna want to study for 30 minutes each night this week, and I'm gonna write in study for French, study for French, study for French, because I don't want to miss that. I felt like the other thing that I really did to help myself was looking ahead at the week ahead, not just what's going on this week, but like what's happening next week and how can I be prepared for that. Next up, I feel like, especially for college students, the majority of the work is online, and the browser that you use matters. Staying organized and keeping my workflow smooth was always a challenge while working on so many different tabs, notes, projects all at once. My top tip for keeping everything streamlined and simplifying your workflow drastically is using the Opera browser. Opera is the sponsor of today's video, and I'm not kidding when I say their features are life-changing. Opera allows you to keep all of your work streamlined and distraction-free. The tab islands, for example, are a lifesaver for keeping my workspace organized and neat. When you open tabs from the page you're on, Opera automatically creates tab islands. That means I can have all my shopping tabs together, all of my work tabs together, and all of my YouTube tabs in one place as well. And with the split screen feature, I don't have to lose my train of thought by flipping between a bunch of different tabs. Instead, I can, for example, have an article on one side and my project on the other side, so I can take notes or write an essay while I do my research. I also love the video pop-out feature, which lets me detach a video entirely from the browser and float it anywhere on my screen. This is perfect for watching a tutorial or a study with me or work with me video while you're working in another app, and you know how important aesthetics are to me. So I love that Opera lets you customize the theme of your browser. There are different themes, and my favorite theme is the midsummer one. It's so pretty, and with these different themes you can choose the colors, you can choose animated backgrounds, even browser and keyboard sounds. It's just such a fun way to customize your workspace and personalize it to match your vibe. Overall, Opera just makes streamlining your workflow and staying focused so much easier. So if you want to try it out and see how it can help you stay focused, you can click the link in my description. And thank you again to Opera for sponsoring this video. The second part of planning that's so important is color coding. Our minds are constantly looking for ways to make sense of systems and processes that are happening in our life, and color coding makes it so much easier for your brain to do that. So I always assigned a color to each class, and I would find it really helpful buying a notebook in that color for that class, or like the folder in that color for that class. Even the highlighters I would use would be in the certain color for the certain class. For example, I had a marine geology class and I felt like that was an ocean blue color. So everything for the class was blue. My highlighters and pens for that class were all different shades of blue. Kept notes in a blue notebook. Everything that had to do with blue was with that class, and I feel like it made things feel a lot less cluttered for me. I also just think in general, making the planning process beautiful, like having fun with it, getting some cute little gel pens, highlighters, sticky notes, and stickers makes this so much more fun. If your planner is beautiful to look at, you're gonna want to use it. And especially if you actually take time in setting it up, or setting up a really pretty Notion or Xtiles page, it's like you almost develop like a bond with it in a way, and you want to go back to it more. And third, use a digital and analog system. I love combining digital tools like Opera, Notion, Xtiles with a physical planner and physical notebooks. I actually took all of my notes on physical notebooks in school, and it was not the common thing to do at the time. Let me just tell you, writing something down is different than typing it. When I would write things down, I was able to just intuitively draw my own little diagrams, my own pictures. Every lecture, I would be diligently listening, picking out the most important things and writing them down. However, I still loved using my digital tools to accompany the physical planners. That way I have the flexibility of the tech and the tactile satisfaction of being able to write things down. Next up, creating your ideal study environment. Create a dedicated study space for yourself, whether that's just a small desk in a corner of your room, or even a nice spot at the kitchen table if you want. I just think it's so important to find a dedicated spot for studying. That way, whenever you get in that spot, like you sit down at that desk, you're locked in. You have an association with that spot and you doing your homework and being productive. And making your desk Pinterest worthy, super cute, and full of things you love also will make you want to work. I love lighting candles, maybe putting on my diffuser with some essential oils. I actually had this study essential oil that I used all throughout school. It was like a minty smell. It smelled kind of like wintergreen. It's so refreshing, but it also really helped me create that association because smells are such a big thing. I would also use the essential oil when I was studying, and then like on the day of the exam, have that same essential oil and put a little bit on my wrist so I could lock back in and like trigger those memories that I had when I was studying. Another thing I do before getting started on my work, take the time to just straighten up my space, my room, my apartment, my desk before getting started on work. That way there weren't like cleaning tasks looming over me when I was trying to do my work. I knew they were out of the way, my space was clear, and the only thing that I needed to do at that time was to do my studying. And the time management and productivity hacks. So we already talked a little bit about the planners, but to go a little bit deeper into the planning, I would have my general schedule with my big like line item tasks on my paper planner, but I wouldn't write in all of the nitty gritty. The nitty gritty was for Notion. I would go through my day at the start of the day and really make a detailed to-do list. I would time block everything from my meals to my classes to my studying and homework time to errands I needed to run or cleaning around the apartment or self-care. And yes, self-care counts as a time block. But I think one of the best things I did for myself to not get burnt out was I had a hard cutoff for stopping working. This was a general rule I occasionally had to break, but I had a hard cutoff of 9 p.m. From 9 to 10, I would just do whatever I wanted. I'd watch an episode of my favorite show. I would take a self-care shower. I would literally dry brush, do a face mask. I would put essential oil in the shower, listen to frequency music, all of that for that 1 hour. It was so restorative. And I can't describe how helpful it was for me to have mini study breaks. I'm talking literally 5 to 10 minute breaks throughout my day. I would do like one assignment, however long that would take. And after that assignment, before I started on something else, I would go like make myself a cup of tea or go switch a load of laundry or read a book for a few minutes. I would just break it up and give myself a little bit of variety so that I didn't feel like I've been staring at my computer for so many hours. Now let's talk about my note-taking and memory tricks. For note-taking, I did use physical notebooks. I know that not everyone always did. Like a lot of people would take notes on their laptop, but I still feel like writing things on paper is so cathartic, but not only cathartic, it's more effective. I just don't think anything compares to the freedom you can have in your note-taking with writing things on paper. Typing just didn't give the same effect in terms of ingraining these concepts into my memory. So my note-taking strategy was I would get out one color pen, one color highlighter, and a pencil, and I would take all of my notes in pencil. I would write down whenever things stood out to me, when the teacher would stress something or when something stuck out to me. Like I would just use my discernment to decide decide what to write down. I would use my pen as like a little emphasis point so I could make a star next to something if the professor said it was going to be a test question, or I could add little line breaks or just little doodles that kind of helped demonstrate the idea I was writing down. And I would also use the highlighter to do the same thing, but I typically picked the same color highlighter and the same color pen for each class to help my brain associate them with that class. Now, my biggest tip for studying of all time was doing self-tests and making concept maps of like the entire unit. Before a test or a quiz, or to just check my understanding mid-semester, I would go through and connect all the dots between all the different concepts I learned. I started to realize that sometimes we would be zoomed in on a certain issue and I wouldn't even really understand what it looked like in the bigger picture. Like, we'd be talking about hydrothermal vents, but I wouldn't recognize what we were even looking at or like what I'm talking about. All I know is that this goes with this and like this is this, but I don't even know how this correlates in the bigger picture of things or how it works in the real world. I only know this information we're being given in the way that I've been learning these things. So sometimes when I get to the test, I would realize I don't even know what I'm like talking about. Like, what even is this? So I would go through my whole notes from the semester and I would like connect all the dots. I would create an entire few pages in my notebook, bridging the gaps between everything and like reciting all these concepts that I learned. So I wasn't just memorizing them, I was understanding them. Let me just say that again, understanding things is worlds away and so very different than memorizing them. Any test where I just shoved as many flashcards into my memory as I possibly could was never the same, and I never comprehended the information the same as when I actually understood it. So when I would take the time before a test to go through everything, make it make sense to me. Like, if someone worded this question or this concept in a different way, I would understand it rather than just having memorized the wording and like only knowing it in that context. This was the most game-changing thing for me. So I recommend that like above everything else. And in addition to doing that, for tests, I would do self-tests on myself, not just flashcards either. I would actually write all the questions down that I made for myself to study from, and I would have to like say the answers out loud or literally write them down on blank notebook paper, just as I would kind of have to do during a test. I found that when I would just keep going through like flashcards, I would really just get used to the way things were worded, or I would potentially subconsciously memorize the flashcard rather than understanding the material. And I just want to really reiterate the distinction that there is between memorizing and understanding. Every time I memorized something for a test, I would forget it right after, whereas understanding things, that really stuck with me. When I understood it and it made sense to me and I broke it down into a way that made sense to me, I actually remembered it and was able to do it on the test. The other thing I will say about studying is it is so much better to study for a few days, like maybe a whole week, covering different topics before a test rather than just studying for like 7 hours on one day before the test. You will jam so much information into your brain that it just won't be able to retain it all. Now let's talk about the mindset and romanticizing school. The fun part, believing in yourself not only helps with your confidence and kind of manifesting a positive outcome for yourself on a subconscious level, but it also makes it so that if you did get a bad grade or if you didn't do as well on a test as you were hoping to do, it wouldn't be the end of the world because you would have a strong confidence and sense of self underneath. So let me also reiterate that grades are not everything at all. In fact, school is such just a small, like minuscule little blip part of your life. If you do get a worse grade than you were hoping for, it's really not the end of the world. Don't be too hard on yourself about it and realize that trying your best is enough. Keep that strong sense of self, keep your confidence, and don't let a bad grade knock you down. Even things like wearing a fun, cute outfit can make such a big difference. I know it's not important to dress up for class and a lot of people would just wear sweatpants, but I pretty much always went to class looking put together. I would take the time to do my makeup in the morning and maybe do something cute with my hair, wear a cute outfit that I loved, because if nothing else, it's a time for me to express myself and just literally romanticize the process even more. Like, I wanted to feel like Elle Woods and Rory Gilmore, and even though it's fine to go to school in sweats, and I did do that sometimes, I just had a lot of fun being put together for it. And I feel like when you get ready and you put on an outfit that you love, you're more excited to go to school anyway. It literally made the process more fun for me. Another huge way that I romanticized school was by having a playlist literally called Romanticizing School. I will link that in the description if you want to check it out. I would put that on and just lock in every day. It was so fun and cute. And combining the playlist with like lighting a candle on my cute little workspace and my cute desk and my diffuser going and like a cute comfy outfit, like all of that together was just perfect. I literally felt like I was in a movie, which leads me to my next point of concern consuming content that makes you want to stay on track. Watch things like Gossip Girl, Gilmore Girls, Legally Blonde, shows where they kind of center school. It's like a fun way to practice self-care by just indulging in a show you love, but also getting a little bit of input that kind of ignites a fire in you to want to stay on track. Like, I watched Legally Blonde and I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Harvard. Create a vision board and have it somewhere you can see every single day. If you didn't create a vision board at the start of the year, it's not too late to make one now. You can make one in X Tiles super easily. Go onto Pinterest and find a bunch of pictures that correspond to the vibe, the feeling, and the outcome that you want to have for your semester. And you can even set it as your background for your laptop or your phone so that every day you see it and you're reminded of what you're doing, what you're working towards, and why you're doing this. I feel like whenever I thought about my higher purpose and why I was here, and just reminded myself that the education I was getting was such a gift, it made me feel a lot more grateful for it rather than feeling like, oh, I hate school, I don't want to go, this sucks, this is so hard. I loved reframing it as something that I get to do, something that I'm excited about, and although it's hard, it's also fun and it's bringing me so much new information, so much new knowledge that I get to have. And celebrate small wins, like every test that you do well on, a project that you complete, a presentation that you do. Celebrate it. You can give yourself a little reward of any sort, like maybe you say, you know what, I'm gonna go get my nails done after I do this really hard test, or I'm gonna go get an ice cream after my long night of studying. It kind of builds momentum and confidence and it gives you something to look forward to. It's like positive reinforcement. Lastly, let's talk about study-life balance and self-care while you're in school. One thing I heard that really helped me and is something that I constantly go back to is, would it help me more to push or pull right now? Let's say you have a big assignment due. You are so stressed about it. It's really hard. It's a lot of work. You kind of had to stay up late to finish it. You're wondering if you should just go to sleep now, forget about the assignment and say, you know what, I did my best, or push and get it done. This is an instance where I would honestly push. That's a time where I think pushing would be more valuable to me than pulling back and not getting the greatest grade. But an example where I would pull back is yesterday. I had a huge ambitious plan of what I wanted to do all day. I was going to do a bunch of filming. I had a lot of things on my to-do list, but the day kind of got derailed. Lots of other things came up and I started getting so stressed. I thought, there's no way I can do all this now. Like, do I push and go take a shower and like try to do my hair and try to do all this filming and like do all these things I was going to do, or just pull back and say, we can do it tomorrow instead? And in that instance, I decided to pull back. I decided pulling back was going to be better for my mental health and my sanity in the long run. And I accepted the fact that things weren't going to look the way that I thought they were going to look. But if you can kind of do that for yourself, like in a certain situation where you may be feeling really stressed, is pushing or pulling gonna help me right now more? Sometimes it's pushing. And then honestly, when I realized that pushing might be the thing that would help me in that instance, it almost makes me feel better because it's kind of like, okay, once I push and I get this done, then we can relax. As I mentioned earlier, I also just want to reiterate that good grades are nice to have, but burning yourself out for it is literally not worth it. So always keep your mental health at the forefront and schedule social time and self-care like their assignments too. Like, I can't reiterate this enough. You need to have social time and fun time and alone time where you're not doing school. For me, that was really helpful in having the 9 o'clock cutoff time so I could have until like 10 or 11 just doing fun things that I wanted to do. And I had social time on the weekends. I would sometimes go home from school. I'd have my boyfriend come up to school and visit me and we'd do fun things, and I wouldn't really have to worry about homework because I did it all during the week. Also, remember that downtime fuels productivity. You can't be productive all the time and you shouldn't even want that. Sometimes I get stressed at the thought that I can't do it all the time, but rest is just as productive as doing work is. You need both of them to literally stay sane, so prioritize that as well. It's hard to think of everything I want to say for this because I just have endless tips, but I will lastly add, actually go to class. I found that even in classes where attendance was optional, going to class was always a better decision. Not only do you learn better, like if I would stay home from class and just watch it on my computer because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pay attention. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't take notes as much. I would literally just be on my phone. I would like fall asleep. Whereas if I'm actually in class, no, I'm gonna take notes. I'm like, okay, you know what? I came here. I'm literally paying to be here. Yeah, I'm gonna go to class. Second, you actually make a bigger impact on the people there and the professor. You make connections, you make friends with other students, and those friends are also like alliances and resources for you when you don't know what to do on the homework, like you have someone to ask, and you make an impression on the professor. Being an active participant in class will get you far every time. The professors would often ask questions to the class and a lot of people would just stay silent, but I would speak up if I knew the answer. And I actually had professors at the end of the semester that I didn't even think really noticed me personally like thank me for my involvement in the class and say that they really appreciated my participation and that they would love to write me a letter of recommendation if I ever needed one for an internship or anything else. And I couldn't believe that what I thought wasn't that impactful to the professor actually was. They notice people who pay attention, who are involved, who seem like they want to be there and are taking the class seriously. And lastly, don't leave class not knowing what's going on. There were times where I was just so absolutely confused in class and I didn't want to stay after and ask the professor, and I absolutely screwed myself over because I had no idea what to do on the homework. I was so incredibly lost. So don't leave class not knowing. Go right up to the professor after class and say, can you explain this to me, or go to office hours. I could go on, but I think that's where we will wrap things up. Comment below what grade you're going into and what your absolute best tip is to everyone else. What helps you succeed in school? What's your best study tip? What's your best little hack? Like, let's create a positive environment for everyone to thrive. Comment this emoji if you watched all the way up until the end of the video. Have an amazing semester and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.